Take 57. Action. Wait. Cut. Let's stop right there. If you were watching a video where the words were misspelled and the pictures didn't match the sound, you'd probably turn it off. Errors like that make it impossible to take the work seriously. The same thing happens to businesses. If they consistently put out poor work, customers will stop buying from them and find someone else, causing that company to lose its place in the market very quickly. Keeping standards high is what protects that market share. It gives people a solid reason to stay loyal and helps the business build a strong reputation for being reliable. So, how do we make sure a product is actually good? In our world, we start by looking at the raw materials, the script, and the camera footage. Using quality inputs means strictly checking that every single material or part meets your specific standards before the work even begins. This follows a computing rule called GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Starting with poor materials yields a poor final product, but using high-quality materials from the start gives you the best chance of creating a great finished product. There's a branding benefit here too. If you buy your supplies from famous, reputable companies, you can proudly mention those names in your marketing campaigns to help prove your final product is truly worth the price. Of course, better materials usually cost more money, and because you are being so highly selective, your entire production schedule completely depends on those specific suppliers being perfectly reliable. Even with those higher costs, premium raw materials are the necessary starting point for any product that hopes to succeed. Once you have your materials, you have to manage the work itself. Let's head into the editing bay to look at an approach called quality control. With quality control, the team waits until the very end of the production line to inspect the finished product and see if it meets the requirements. But look at the risk shown on this timeline. If we only spot a mistake here, at the very end, the entire finished product might be ruined. That's a massive waste of time and money. Quality control is great for making sure bad products never reach the customer, but it's a very expensive way to handle mistakes because you only find them after the work is done. To avoid that kind of waste, many businesses switch to a strategy called quality assurance. Quality assurance involves checking the product at many different stages throughout the process, rather than just waiting for the end. Checkpoints at every step catch issues early, preventing wasted time and materials on faulty products. However, stopping to check the work slows things down, making the operation less productive. It also requires more money for staff to run the checks, and the business might need extra space or special tools to perform those inspections at each stage. In short, quality assurance prioritizes preventing defects over just finding them, which saves materials even if it takes a bit longer to finish the job. We can take this even further by looking past the individual steps and focusing on the people. This is called quality management. Quality management turns the goal of excellence into a company-wide philosophy, where the target is exactly 0 defects. For this to work, everyone in the business, no matter their job, has to take personal responsibility for the quality of what they're making. This mindset encourages people to work together as a team. It offers the best chance of keeping customers happy, because the goal is to get the product right the very first time. Of course, creating a culture where errors are never tolerated is much more expensive and difficult to set up than simply checking a product at the end of a line. Even so, quality management is often the best choice because it relies on the commitment of the people to make sure mistakes never happen to begin with. When you combine high-quality inputs, steady assurance, and a culture that cares about every detail, you end up with a perfectly executed operation. Think of it this way. Assurance catches mistakes during the work, control catches them at the end, but management creates the culture that prevents them entirely. Great quality is a choice. It's the result of being deliberate at every single step of the journey.